I want to first lay out why this video even matters and how it personally affects me as a Discord user. I've been paying for Nitro since 2023. I'm Diamond rank. I've also been on the platform since July 12th, 2016, which would be a decade, solid 10 years of time. Discord is the primary platform I use for communicating with my friends, some of which I don't even have added outside of Discord. A lot of the time when people are having arguments over policy, it's over topics that don't have an immediate direct impact. Say, for example, starving kids in Africa if you live in the US, or North Korea killing Otto Warmbier if you never plan to visit North Korea. This is not to say you shouldn't have opinions on issues that don't affect you. It's just used to highlight that everything I'm about to lay out in this video is going to directly affect my day-to-day existence online, and maybe how everyone navigates social media in the future. So, in case you know nothing about the recent Discord controversy, on February 9th, Discord put out a blog post detailing their new approach to safety. Starting in early March, users are going to be required to be age assured to access sensitive content like restricted channels, servers, commands, and specific types of messages. Nowhere is our safety more important than when it comes to teen users. Which is why we are announcing these updates in time for Safer Internet Day. That's my favorite federal holiday. We've got Christmas, Memorial Day, and Safer Internet Day. To do this, they'll be processing selfies, having you submit your ID, which is said to be deleted quickly, and after you verify your Discord experience adapts to your age group. All users are going to be content filtered, age gated, unknown users that send you messages are going to be routed to a separate inbox, you'll get warnings for friend requests if you don't know the person, and only age-assured accounts will be able to speak in stage servers, which are these things. Originally, I was working on a Roblox cash grab video, but unfortunately getting global age assurance right, well, we got wrong and what's changing dropped yesterday on February 24th, 2026. The most annoying part is this stupid little bar that I cannot remove. However, on substance, I actually like this response. It addresses that they knew this was going to be controversial, does a way better job at communicating what they're trying to accomplish, and delays the entire global rollout until the second half of 2026. It even delves into compliance requirements with UK, Australia, Brazil, Europe, and the United States. In the United States, there are a ton of states that have introduced social media age verification laws, and even a handful that have become law. So I totally understand the compliance argument. However, this is way more complicated than we just simply need to comply with the law. That is, if you actually care about solving the problem. EDRI, or European Digital Rights, is a collection of NGOs, experts, academics, and advocates that published a very interesting position on age verification. It's worth to at least point out, in the same way that Discord has a bias towards pushing age verification, or I should say incentivized to follow the law so that they don't get fined a ton of money in those countries that have the law, EDRI will have a bias towards digital freedom or not collecting IDs. But this paper is a super interesting read. They took 11 age verification methods and scored it on invasiveness, effectiveness, and risk level. They then used that to give a conclusion like limited usefulness or do not recommend. You don't want to end up in the do not recommend category. Methods that ended up here include facial analysis or AI prediction, uploading official documentation, so sorry Discord, ID and face scans are out, social vouching, obviously, proxy documentation like credit, debit card, or student IDs, using other data to predict the age of the user, whatever other data means, and doing some task to prove your age. So if 99% of the class has failed the test, who even passed? The answer is really weird. The preferred method is self-declaration of being above a certain age threshold. That literally means saying, yes, I am older than 18. A reason that it's not as simple as just following laws is because, and I'll quote directly from EDRI, there may also be an issue of over-focus by policymakers on age verification and an overestimation of its purported benefits. For example, as the Children's Digital Right Group 5 Rights Foundation points out, effective risk mitigation can, on the contrary, nullify the need for age assurance. It's just an interesting thought that managing risks can make age assurance completely not necessary. Discord specifically has had a data breach with a third-party vendor that exposed 70,000 government IDs. Although I find the data breach argument less compelling because if you're against Discord implementing this policy, I don't think you would be okay with it, even if they never had any data breach at all. It just doesn't help. It's a little bit of a cherry on top. I can see though why age verification through facial scans can be inaccurate, extremely invasive, or just dangerous in terms of the risk that it does pose. If a company starts having multiple data breaches, you would obviously not trust this company with your data. That would be stupid. However, even though I fully realize and acknowledge the flaws with age verification, I think something should be done about kids on social media because of really bad declining mental health. And of course, the predators. A Harvard Law article says, in the first paragraph, the kids are not okay. Evidence of decreasing school performance, increasing rates of depression and anxiety, and declining social engagement among minors has created a national panic. One common culprit has emerged: social media companies. And then it talks about COPPA. And then the final paper I will mention, because I am very, very tired of looking at papers, is The Digital Loophole Evaluating the Effectiveness of Child Age Verification Methods on Social Media, which came out of School of Computer Science, Technological University, Dublin, Ireland, and the Cybersecurity Department. So while I've done my best to read this paper, let's just jump to the conclusion. This study simulated the account creation for minors, and they also found that reliance on self-declared age assurance is better than ID-based verification. But it recommends enhancements to current techniques, including AI-driven age assurance and government verification processes. So it wants SMPs or simple media platforms to implement stricter age verification methods, which I think I agree with, but with a massive caveat. After looking into the issue, I am a bit more increasingly worried about our current government administration, the same one that's giving out subpoenas with DHS, overextending their power. And not just governments, but also private, massive tech companies. If this does become the de facto standard, what is stopping Apple or Google from forcing you to age verify to even use your text messages? And then we find ourselves slippery sloping into creating a whole surveillance state infrastructure. That doesn't sound good. So what is the reasonable amount of trade-off to be safe on the internet? Digital rights seem kind of fragile and very hard to get back, so I'm happy that Discord has pushed this decision back. But to actually help kids online, I think there should be some legislation like banning social media until you are a certain age, in combination with new tech solutions that are actually proven to work, like declaring your own age and holding off on forcing facial scans and IDs until they're proven to be less risky. However, I kind of hold the unique position that I'm not very mad at Discord about this. I think they're trying to do the best that they can. I'm actually way more annoyed with the people that have selective outrage when it comes to predators and want these platforms to do something. To simply just be mad at Discord in this case is ignoring the way more systemic and complicated issue that YouTube and X and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook are also going to have to implement these policies down the road. If you have a headache because there is a glioblastoma physically crushing your brain tissue, I don't think taking an extra strength aspirin is going to help with that. If you have a problem with Discord, canceling your Nitro on a platform that you utilize every day, I think is going to cause more harm to you than the laws that are forcing the company to comply with ID verification to begin with. So that's my thoughts. It's a very complicated issue, and I'm absolutely open to being wrong with everything. That's the nature of fast, rapidly moving technology that causes tons of problems which don't have any type of precedent. But I do wish that the discourse around this topic was more than Discord good or bad. Every single source for everything I said will be in the description. I stream at twitch.tv/Arrogance, and I will be going now. Goodbye.